Hello everyone, welcome to Civil Nirman. This is Chetan. Today we will going to understand the manual check of seismic coefficient method. Many of you may be not aware what is this accidental load in the seismic parameters over here and why we are including this or why should we include. Right, so let's first understand how we can perform a seismic analysis over here, and we will go for a manual check. Also we will understand why we are including accidental load. So first of all, for your understanding, I have considered a sample frame building which has a 3.5 bay in Z direction and 4 meter in X direction. Now to understand its basics, first of all let me tell you that in order to perform the seismic coefficient method, you need to calculate your base shear, right? That is calculated by VB equals to AH into W, right? We perform VB equals to AH into W, where we need to put all these parameters which are related to your horizontal spectrum acceleration, that is Z by 2, I by R, SA by G. So all these parameters will be dependent on your several criterias. Then we need to work out our building weight, that is the W. So in order to perform the seismic coefficient method, what you need to do over here, whatever the dead load and live load you have implemented in your structure, the same dead load plus percentage of imposed load you need to incorporate in your seismic definition in order to work out your seismic weight over here. Then STAAD will define these parameters based on AH value that we need to incorporate in our seismic definition, and based on that the whole building weight is implemented in your STAAD definition in terms of the lateral load over here, right? And you can select your code, and based on these parameters it will implemented in terms of the lateral load in order to work out your base shear. So let's get started. So for your understanding, currently I have considered only a 25 kilonewton of weight, that is in terms of point load on the top floor. You can observe at each node I have implemented 25 kilonewton load. Now consider this as a total load of that particular floor weight in order to understand the methodology. So I will provide you a short trick over here in order to understand how your seismic weight is distributed in terms of lateral force on your building. Now in order to understand that, currently I have considered 25 kilonewton of point load in a top floor. Now we will implement the same load in the seismic definition as well, okay, in order to perform the seismic coefficient method. So we will work out that particular parameter as well. So I'll go to the seismic definition over here. Now I'll select the code IS 1893-2002. Now see, there is a separate option given over here, that is in terms of accidental load. So what is that? Why we need to incorporate that particular over here? So for that you need to understand the codal provisions of eccentricity. Now let's first of all understand what is eccentricity. Now see, in case of your building, if your center of mass and center of stiffness or center of resistance is not coinciding, then the distance between them will create a torsion moment in your structure, okay, and this particular distance is specified as torsional eccentricity, okay. Now in case of a plan configuration of your building, you will not get any torsion in your structure, because in a regular configuration of building, center of mass and center of resistance, or what we can say the center of rigidity, will coincide, okay. So there will be no chances of eccentricity. But if it is not coinciding, like this kind of irregular building, then it will lead to the torsional effect in your building, right? Now in order to work out that, code is giving you a provision about your static eccentricity. So let's understand that. So in a clause of 7.9.2 in your IS 1893, it provides the following definition. So the design eccentricity to be used at floor shall be taken as 1.5 ESI plus or minus 0.05 B. Now what is E over here? You can check out, that is static eccentricity at floor defined as the distance between center of mass and center of rigidity. and B is the floor plan dimension of the floor, which is perpendicular to the direction of floor. Now, in order to include this particular eccentricity in your structure, you can utilize include accidental load. So once you include this, it will calculate your eccentricity as well for your structure. I hope this is clear. Now see, currently we have considered a regular configuration. So in our structure, the center of mass and center of rigidity will coincide. But so there will be no torsional effect, right? But still, if you want to calculate your eccentric moments, you can include the accidental load over here. So that's why this checkbox is given over here to include the accidental load, right? So you can refer this particular clause over here. It will define the static eccentricity at floor, which is defined as the distance between center of mass and center of rigidity. Now over here you can observe the note that the factor 1.5 represents the dynamic amplification factor, while the factor 0.05 represents the extent of accidental eccentricity. So this 0.05b will calculate your eccentricity even if you don't have the eccentricity value, right? So let's check out how we can work out in our structure. So I hope this is clear. Now one important thing I would like to mention over here. Mostly students only know how to operate the software, but they don't understand the fundamental logics behind the theory, or how to check the results or interpret them. So our aim is to guide you with logical fundamentals along with the softwares, and once you will understand all the logical fundamentals, then you will able to understand the correct use of software. Alright, now let's continue again. So I'll click on generate command over here. Now see, for my particular building I am considering zone 3 over here. Now depending upon your location you can change it, right? All of you might be aware with the all parameters, that is VB equals to AH into W. So currently we are working out the AH value. So your AH value represents Z by 2, I by R and SA by G. You can refer the following clause 6.4.2 in order to understand all the parameters. Now let's just quickly understand over here. So currently I am considering zone 3. My building is simple moment resisting frame. Now see, there are two important factors over here for your importance of building. So currently I am considering a general building, right? If you have an important building, their factor will be 1.5. We will go with the medium soil category. Now over here you have three categories: RC frame building, steel frame building, and all other categories of building, right? So we will go with the all other category of building, right? For that particular you need to refer your codal provisions over here, right? That is 7.6.2. For the first two categories it will be the time period without infill panel, and I am considering the third category of the structure, that is the time period for all other category of building, that is your moment resisting frame with brick infill panel, and your time period equation over here is T equals to 0.09 H upon root D. Now the H printing is missing in your code, so keep that in mind. The original equation is 0.09 H divided by root D. So I'll consider all other building. So our time period T will be calculated based on that equation, right? Now next is damping ratio. Now your damping ratio depends upon the type of material and type of structural system you are utilizing. So currently for the concrete structure the damping ratio is 5%, right? Now if you want to include your foundation depth, you can include. If you don't, then it will be fine. I'm leaving on software to calculate my time period. Now if you want to add it manually, you can do that too. Okay, we will also verify the time period over here as well. So I'll click on generate command over here. Now see, you can check out all the parameters are included over here. Now one important thing to note over here, in the previous or older versions we need to import damping ratio in terms of ratio as in 0.05, right? There was a correction in that older versions. Currently we are utilizing the latest version of the StatPro, that is the Connect edition. Over here it is representing in terms of percentage, but if you are utilizing the older version then you need to enter 0.05 over here. So make sure you don't lead to the mistakes. So I have added the parameter of the zone, response reduction factor and all other, right? Now the weight we have included in the dead load. The similar weight we need to incorporate over here in order to calculate your base shear, right? So I'll go with the 25 kilonewton of the point load over here with the positive value. Now you can see the weight is included, right? Now see, whatever the load values you have incorporated in your, let us say, dead load, live load, right? All the load values will be implemented in your seismic definition in terms of dead load plus percentage of live load, right? We need to incorporate, in case of the live load, we have the clause that if your live load is less than 3 kilonewton per, less than or equal to 3 kilonewton per meter square, then you need to consider 25% of live load. If it is greater than 3, you can consider 50% of the live load. And now see, in this stat definition we are implementing W weight over here, right? So for AH values we will enter that seismic weight W, which we have already calculated for your dead load, right? Now in case of your seismic definition, your nodal load becomes joint weight. If you have a member load, it will becomes member weight. If you have element load, it will become element weight, right? So over here we are referring weight, right? So you might have a question that why we are removing sign, why the negative sign is avoided, because over here we are considering weight, right, not force. So weight will be always in the downward direction. We are considering weight. So that's why in case of seismic definition we don't provide any particular direction, and we are including weight only, and that will be always in the downward direction. So make sure that particular. Now I have added 25 kilonewton over here. Now the similar weight I will implement to all the nodes which we have implemented in case of dead load. So I'll click over here. Now I'll use the editor command over here in order to implement the same weight. Or what you can do, you can go in the editor part, right? We can use that feature too. You can go in the editor part and assign the same weight to the structure. Now one important thing to observe over here, initially where we don't apply any particular load, your load value will be highlighted in terms of question mark only, right? And if you observe, I have assigned the weight, but still it is not visible over here. It is only visible in terms of dot. Then how can we know that the load is applied correctly, right? So in a definition I am not able to see any load values, because over here the lateral load needs to be analyzed, right? We have applied dead load over here only, and it's not a lateral load, and it is to be analyzed yet according to that factor of AH, right? So that's why it is not visible in the definition part. So over here your W weight, that is W, and AH both will be calculated, and then it is distributed as a lateral load in your building. Okay, and also one important thing, that your load case must be comes after the application of your seismic definition. So currently let's implement the earthquake in X as well as in the Z direction. So I'll click on add over here. Now I'll click on add over here. I'll add the seismic definition. We will consider earthquake in X. In the same manner I'll consider earthquake in Z. Let me just make it clear. Okay. Now see, I'll implement the X direction factor 1, and over here the multiplying factor for your accidental torsional moment that we have included. So currently I have tick mark this. Similarly I'll implement the load in the Z direction as well, right? This is the multiplying factor for your accidental torsional moment. Okay, now as we know, to define your seismic load you need to define your seismic definition first over here, and this particular seismic load case must be applied after the definition part. So I'll quickly change that by going in the editor, and then we will analyze the structure. So over here I'll show you the manual calculation, how it will be calculated and distributed. So I'll go in the editor. Now see, these are your seismic load cases. I need to put it after the definition. Okay. Now in order to separate the analysis, I will follow the command with perform analysis change. Perform analysis change, so that it will separate your analysis. In case of UBC IBC, you need to follow your load combination with perform analysis change, right? Otherwise it will give you a warning. So over here we have considered the seismic load after the seismic definition. Now let me add just a perform analysis command over here. Now we will run the analysis. All right. Now let's check out the output, and we will verify the output over here. Now see, you can observe there is a warning that base dimension is calculated at the lowest support. Now this is specifying you just a warning that if the level of the structure is not a plinth level, you can enter your time period value manually, right? In some of the cases we have basement story as well, so it is just giving you a warning. Okay, so in case of basement, you can actually work out your time period because it is depending on your structural height, that is 0.09 h divided by root d. Now let's understand over here how the time period is calculated in x and z direction. So you will observe time period for x is 0.190 second, right? Your SA by G parameter for medium soil is 2.5, load factor is 1. Your base shear VB is equals to AH into W. So this is your AH, that is comes around 0.05. Then this is your seismic weight 225. So its multiplication will give you the 9 kilonewton. Now let's verify this particular answer through the manual check. So over here I have added the height of the structure. Let me just show you. We will go with the node to node distance to understand the weight specific, to understand the dimensions. This is 4 meter, right? And in this particular direction, that is your Z direction, it is 3.5. So currently I am calculating in this direction, that is your X direction. So your height is 6 meter, right? Your base dimension D, I am considering 8 over here currently. Why 8? So if you observe in your code, in case of your time definition, that is the T, over here your D is mentioned. You can look out there that the base dimension of the building at the plinth level in meter along the considered direction. So currently we are considering the X direction, right? So for that particular your D will be this, that is 8 meter, right? So I have added 8 meter over here. Now see, let's calculate based on the time H and D, based on your height and D, your time period will be 0.09 h divided by root d. So I have utilized following equation, so you can verify that we are getting 0.09 h divided by square root of d. It is coming around 0.190, right? So which is verified over here, 0.190, right? Now let's get back to the seismic weight. Now see how the seismic weight is considered. See, we have implemented the 25 kilonewton point load at the last floor, right? Let me just show you. So what will be the total weight? You can calculate it directly, right? There is a 25 kilonewton at each node. How many nodes are there? That there are total 9 nodes. So your total weight will be 25 into 9, right? So it will be 225. So your seismic weight will be 2. So your weight of the building will be 225. Got it? Right? For the sample problem explanation, we have considered only 25 kilonewton at each node. We have not included any particular load. This is considered only to explain you how the load will distributed. You will understand this quickly. So your that particular floor's total load will be 25 into 9, 225. Now see, Z by 2, as we have considered 0.16 divided by 2, I by R. I have considered I as 1. Response reduction factor 5 for SMRF building. And for medium soil, we have SA by G as 2. Right? Now if I calculate AH is what? That is Z by 2, I by R and SA by G. It's multiplication. So if I multiply all three value over here, you will get 0.04. So this is also verified over here. See, you are getting AH. VB equals to, this is AH into W. So your AH is also verified, 0.04. Manually we are getting the same answer. Now what is VB? So VB equals to this AH into W, right? So I have calculated VB, that is your AH 0.04 multiplied by 225. So I am getting VB, that is your base shear, as 9 kilonewton. Now this particular 9 kilonewton, this 9 kilonewton is implemented as a lateral force at this particular level, right? So over here total 9 nodes are there, right? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, right? We have implemented 25 kilonewton at 9 points, and we are implementing the same load in terms of the lateral load at this particular floor. So your 9 kilonewton load, that is your base shear, right? We have calculated base shear 9 kilonewton. Now this 9 kilonewton lateral force will be divided at that 9 joints in terms of the lateral force. So how much your load will come? So 9 divided by 9, right? I hope you are understanding this. We have implemented the total weight, that is VB equals to AH into W, that is coming around 9 kilonewton. And now this lateral force VB, that is base shear 9 kilonewton, will distribute it at this particular floor at all joints. So based on that we will distribute that load at each joint over here. So your 9 divided by 9 will give you the answer as 1, right? So now let's check out that 1 kilonewton is actually we are getting or not, right? So if I click on X, let me just press Shift V to work out the values, right click. I'll changing the structural diagrams in order to check out the load values. Let me just go with the loading part. Right click, structural diagrams, I am just scaling over here so that it will visibly properly. Yes. Now you can check out over here that in case of X direction I am getting 1 kilonewton lateral force at each node. So that's how the load is distributed, right? You have calculated VB as 9 kilonewton, which is divided at each joint at that floor. So 9 divided by 9, so 1 kilonewton is your answer, and you are getting exactly the same answer over here. Now see, as our building is simple with the regular configuration, right? So there will be no eccentric loading over here, but still you are finding such moment over here, right? I have told you depending upon the eccentricity part, right? We have discussed this, right? So in case if your structure has an eccentricity, it will be calculated by this, but our building is regular and still we have choose to work out the accidental load. So that's how code has calculated your eccentricity based on this 0.05b, right? So this is your moments. If you don't specify that, there will be no moments. Now let's verify this particular value as well. So currently I am calculating in the X direction. So for X direction your B will be floor plan dimension perpendicular to the direction of force. So this is my direction of force. So in case of X I need to consider 7 as B, 3.5 plus 3.5, which is perpendicular. Now let's verify that in the calculation. So 0.05 is your accidental eccentricity, that is calculated by stat. Now let's understand this. So for X I need to consider 0.05 into B. So what is your B over here? Your B is 7, right? In case of X, this is your X, 3.5 plus 3.5, 7 meter, right? So for X direction you need to consider your perpendicular dimension. So 0.05 B, so that is comes around 0.350. So you can observe 0.350 is your eccentric moment over here, right? Now in case of Z, check out here what is the moment value, 0.400. So I'll check out for Z as well. So in case of Z, your perpendicular dimension is 8, so over here it will be 0.05 into 8, so that is coming around 0.4. So we are getting the exact answer over here, right? 0.400, right? So that's how your load is distributed actually in the software. So that's how you can verify your seismic coefficient methods manually, static load application in StatPro. I hope this is helpful. That's how you can cross verify your result as well for a particular building. So that's how you can manually verify your seismic coefficient method. Also, we have understood the importance of the accidental load, right? Why we are including the accidental load over here. So Civil Nirman will help students to clear their basics and fundamentals, right? Visit our website for more information. You will get similar information. We have developed the courses for Stat Pro as well as ETABS. You will get the fundamental knowledge along with practical applications in software. So I hope it is helpful. Our main aim over here is to make you aware about the logical and fundamentals. Once you understand the theory and practical fundamentals of your structure design, then you will able to implement correctly in the software. Okay, so stay connected with us. We have developed so many different courses for Stat Pro as well as ETAB. You can visit our website www.civilnirman.com. Stay connected for more updates. Thank you.